Aloha, all you moneymakers out there. This is Indar, and welcome to Hawaii Money Guy. We're super excited today to have all you guys today. We have a fun episode that we're going to talk about this rare unicorn multifamily deal that we just got locked up, and I'm going to explain to you some of the numbers behind multifamily and understanding how the whole multifamily syndicates work, how this deal works, and kind of talk about multifamily in general. We talk about fix and flipping all the time, but let's dive into some multifamily. Let's do it, guys. If I told you guys that subscribe button is the only thing that's separating you from financial freedom, because knowledge is power. I'm going to give you all the knowledge so you can succeed in life. So we got this unicorn of a deal. This property is actually two different properties, but we're kind of treating it as one property. And it's been abandoned for 20 years, we heard. We never know the full story behind properties when we buy them, especially when we buy them off the MLS. There's an agent where we talk to another agent, and he's, explaining from what the seller may said or said not. So often, first thing out there, a lot of people ask on this particular deal is, why didn't the family do this, or why didn't they do that, or this? I don't know either, guys. I don't know why people do things. So first thing out there, a lot of people are asking, why did they do this or that? I don't know. You never know people's really motive or situation in life. You never know what's underlining. People have a lot of things going on. They can have a busy life, and they didn't know about this rental property that they had sitting, or they didn't know what they could do with the different options you can do with the rental property that's just been sitting and boarded up. This property's been boarded up for 20 years, I've heard. And it's got crawfoot tubs and this old pedestal sinks and just very old. Even a drywall, it's just old chicken wire type of drywall, just been sitting for years and years. And the chronics and crackheads have been selling drugs out of it. And the sad thing, this is right next to a school. So that's really sad. It's right next, our fence is a little elementary school. And, I don't want kids going, my kids going to school next to that. So for anyone out there who's saying that we should do this to the property or that, ultimately, guys, I'm doing what's best for the community. And that's what we're doing as flipping, as investors. We're taking these homes that just are dilapidated, that are run down, that are just torn up, and we're bringing back to life for generations to come. This particular one, we're turning into a rental property. It is a rental. We're bringing it back to a life as a rental property. So it's going to be able to rent. We rent our properties here, a lot of Section 8. So a lot of our renters are Section 8. So we're renting out to all the Section 8. The Section 8 is low-income people. There's a huge wait list right now. The demand is really high, and we love Section 8. Section 8 is a great renter for us. So with this particular property, we will look at Section 8. Section 8 is not our only people we'll look at. We'll look at all types of people, of course, but predominantly a lot of our renters are Section 8, and Section 8 is great to us. And it's a great rental property for them. So everything was going to be nice, new and clean. We've got a new, beautiful yard and exterior paint and landscaping, and everything inside is going to be brand new, from washer and dryers to refrigerators to accent walls and custom lighting. So this is going to be a beautiful property for the community, and it's just going to uplift the life of this community, so it deters those bad people from selling drugs in the parking lot, or from the bad people. It really helps the community out a lot more than people recognize. Not alone the jobs, we have $1 million rehab on this property. So the jobs that this entails, and that's all money going back into our community. So there's a ton of jobs. These properties occur to our community, and so forth. There's a ton of activity that generates money back into our economy, and the families that get to benefit from us. But first, a little bit about the deal. So we have a 8-unit building, 2 fourplexes, basically 2 fourplex units together. It looks like a house, 2 fourplex houses, just split up in a 4x4. Super easy building. Two of them, both are almost identical, and the bottom of the buildings are CMU brick. The upstairs is wood framed, And then the other building is an 8-unit building, and it's all CMU, just these brick buildings, cement floors, super easy to rehab. Those type of buildings are just, it's just all brick. I mean, you can't go wrong. It's just cement. So really easy to rehab those type of buildings and bring those back to life, and just create a better home. So we found a deal, basically a referral from somebody. We brought it to our agent. We were the second person to get the deal. The other person that got the deal before us, they had it at a better price, higher price, but they couldn't close, so somebody else fell out, and they brought it to us. And we looked at this property, and it's just right up our alley. The rehab and all that doesn't scare us at all. This is exactly what we've done, hundreds of times. So where others are deterred on these types of hard rehabs, it's nothing new to us. It's just a lot of it. It's just 8 units and a 6 unit, so it just multiplied more bathrooms and more kitchens and so forth. But other than that, the rehab itself is pretty easy to us. We got a extensive framing to do on the roof and some of the different sidings and stuff like that, but construction is right up our alley. We can handle these types of deals. So we locked it up, and we're just about to close it. We did have a really tough time closing this with our lender and our rates, and we have literally at closing right now, we just had the lender loan docs and everything signed. They came back and they pulled back and they said, wait, we got to adjust some rates and terms, and now we're waiting for that whole adjustment, and we're going to have to bring more money to the table. So it's not an easy deal to close. It hasn't been an easy deal to close working with the lenders and loans, and that's just because of the market. Our market's really tough right now. Money is ever changing every day, from interest rates, the bond market, and all these different factors that control money. So getting loans is not an easy process by any means right now. So we're happy to hopefully get this closed shortly. We do need actually a little bit more investors involved. So if you're interested, of course, but we're just about to close on it and take it over and dive on in. The owners, we're not sure, why they let this property go. We're not sure what happened, and who knows. It is a probate sale, meaning it was a death. Somebody handed it down, and you don't know what somebody's underlying things. They could have did a HELOC and took money out and rehabbed it himself, but I don't know. Are they capable of running $1 million rehab? Are you capable of that? And working your full-time job and having life. So you don't know what people's, intentions are, if they could handle that type of rehab. We have $1 million rehab. Is that something you can just take on with not knowing anything about real estate? I mean, it sounds easy, right? But it's not. It's not easy at all. So that would have been an option for them, is to do a HELOC. Another option, of course, is to sell it. And that's what they're doing. They're making a lot of money. They're making $3 billion for this property, and that's not a bad payday for anybody. And I had a lot of comments on Instagram of, we should give this property back to our community. We should make this property nice and give it out to the local people. I would really love to do that, of course, one day, but I'm currently not in a situation where I can just give up $4 million, $3 million back to people for free. I have a whole team of staff sitting behind me that I have to pay for. We have contractors, we have investors, we have, I have a wife and kids. So we're just not that well off yet in life. I would love to be there, but for anyone who says that I should be giving this back to the community and just work for free, I apologize. I'm just not there yet in life, and I'll work harder just for you. And I'll work harder just to show you that people can. But we're not by any means in a situation where we can give back a $3-4 million property to our community for free. So we do this as a job, just like everyone out there listening goes to work, every day. Can you imagine going to work it's probably going to take us a year to 18 months to do this. Can you imagine going to work for 18 months and making no money? that would be a tough, wouldn't it? Wouldn't you guys agree? So people need to think about that. Would you work for 18 months for free? Um, I don't know about you, but it's a job, and we do take that risk. We take the risk on of possibly breaking even and be able to just sell this thing as a break even. That's the big risk. So our risk and reward factors here are a little different than everybody else's. We don't get paid for 18 months until we sell this property, and that's when we potentially get paid if we make money. And sometimes we break even, and so there has been cases like that. But we are doing this as a job to make money, to pay for my team, to pay for our secretaries, our bookkeepers, our social media, our sales guys. We have a ton of VAs. We have a ton of contractors that we got to pay out. So we are doing this to employ a lot of people, and to keep this business rolling and moving forward, of course. So people always ask, why didn't we tear this down, compared to renovating? Everyone's saying, oh, it's a tear down, it's a tear down. I don't see it that way. A tear down is a lot more work to me. Rehabbing is a lot easier just to me, and that's just because that's what I'm good at. A tear down, you have a longer permit to get. You have a new set of plans to work from. You have to get a lot more approvals and so forth to do a ground up, and this costs more. So a tear down costs a lot more compared to a rehab. So we choose to rehab this type of property because it's rehabable to us. Framing, drywall, it's very similar to all a tear down thing type of property, but we're just keeping the same layout, same footprint, the same structure of it all. And it's a lot easier to do a rehab compared to a ground up, permitting wise, timeline wise, and so forth, and all of that kind of thing. It's almost easier sometimes to save a property than it is to tear it down. It's hard to explain to people on that. It doesn't make sense, but it actually does make some more sense to me to rehab. It is a little more challenging, it could be, because sometimes you don't know what you're going to find in the rehab property, and you may find more than you could account for, or more than you can chew. But with a rehab, it is still a lot more costly, and time is a big one. Here in Hawaii, our permitting process is huge. And actually, this particular property, we have already started the permitting process, I think 4 months ago. So we should be already kind of ahead of our time for the permitting process of all that, of this particular property, and to get that moving as well. So what's our future plans for this property? I'm sorry, we're not going to donate it yet to the property to Native Hawaiians. This is not something we're ready to donate yet. Again, we're not there in that situation. And I'm not. Another question I had was, are you going to absorb back taxes from some government subsidy loopholes? Do you gain any advantages in this rebuild? It just funny to hear this kind of stuff, that no, there's no back taxes where we absorb. There's no subsidy loopholes that we get to gain from this. If you don't pay your property tax in any property, the state still gets their money no matter what. So when we buy this property, the sellers who we're buying it from, they will pay their property taxes as well as the back taxes that were due. So the seller will be taking care of all that property tax. And guys, our property tax is very low. So whoever complains about property taxes here in our state, we have one of the lowest property taxes across the U.S. So property taxes here in Hawaii are very, very low. Yes, I know we have to pay them, but we do have very low property taxes. And no, the state won't take a property over for just property tax. They'll put liens against the property, meaning that whoever decides to sell it, whatever happens to sell it, then those liens need to be paid before that property is sold. So there's the state is not in the business of taking over properties and being real estate people. The state is in the business of making money. So that's why they use liens, and they'll leverage a property in that sense. They're not going to take over the property. And no, the state doesn't give any subsidy loopholes or anything for fixing or or buying this property. They're not going to do anything. The only tax advantage you'll have is when this is stabilized and it's rented out. Now you have a rental property, and rental properties do have some tax advantages, as I've shared in previous videos, with cost segregation, with different expenses you can write off and so forth. But that's a separate note when you have a stabilized rental property. As for the fixing this and getting it stable and everything, there's not much tax incentives to say for this whole property. There's not much tax loopholes that I know of. If you know any tricks that I don't know, but I'm more than happy to hear. But there's no advantages of buying and fixing properties and bring them back to life. There's no advantages to rehabbing this property other than make it into a great rental. There's no tricks that people say, and I shouldn't say tricks. There's no tax loopholes, I should say. And we don't look for tax loopholes in the system. We look for tax incentives, tax things that legally you can do, that everyone does, and we just learn about it and use those same tax strategies that everyone else uses. And it's not a secret. It's not something that you wouldn't know about it. The reason often you don't know about certain tax loopholes or tax strategies is because you can't use them, or they're just not a part of your life and how you use things. So that's all it is. We talk about cost seg, for example. It's just something I didn't know about before, and then when I started doing it in 2019, it's just a tax incentive that everyone is doing now that I know. So I just didn't know it because I wasn't able to use it. I didn't have it in my life because I didn't have rentals and so forth. So often you hear tax loopholes, and it's really it's just because it doesn't pertain to you. That's why it's different from what you are doing. If you just work a W-2 job and that's it, it's pretty hard to have any tax incentives. If you want to get into it, you need to start an LLC, you need to buy rentals. There's a lot more things when you own your own company, basically, to use. Get a little off topic there, but so this is a multifamily. It's a $3.1 million purchase, and we're going to spend about $1 million in rehab into this property. It's going to take us well over probably 6 months to 9 months to rehab it. Permits are another huge thing. We can't finish, of course, until permits are done. So that's the whole challenge of permits as well, and getting that rented out. So after it's fixed up, then we'll be able to rent it out. And once we rent it out, that's when we really got to push to rent it out. So we'll be offering no deposits for renters, and we might throw in no first month rent. So we're just going to try and rent this out as fast as we can to some great rentals with no deposits on, and we'll rent it out at market. I think we'll be renting at about $2,200 a month, $2,250 I think is what we project. And parking will be another bonus. In this area, parking is very limited, so we will be charging $120 for parking as well. And each building one has 6 stalls, the other one has 8 stalls, so parking is limited, and we'll charge for parking. And then we'll have coin laundry. So this is all the income we'll have from the property. We'll have rental income for 14 units. We'll have the income of parking, and we'll have the income of the washer and dryers. So those 3 income sources for the property, and then we'll have expenses out. And the type of expenses, of course, is property tax, insurance. You have to have those no matter what. And last expenses, we'll have property management, but we're going to in-house property manage that, so we won't have property management expense, but we will have some electricity and water, not too much, because the property is sub-metered, so meaning that the tenants pay for those items. It is sub-metered to the tenants, so all the renters will be paying for their own electricity and their own water. So we won't have much of those expenses. There'll be a little bit of common area electricity cost, but not much. So we'll have that rented out, and those expenses. There is some other general expenses that we You could budget in there some capex and some other things, but this is a brand new rented property, so we won't have much capital expenditures. So that's a simple kind of math of it all. So you will take your income minus your expenses, and that's going to give your NOI, net operating income. You take that NOI, net operating income, and you divide it by the cap rate. The cap rate is basically what other properties have sold in Hawaii. Generally, it's 4% is the common cap rate right now. There's even goes low as 3%. So right now our cap rate is 4%. So you take the NOI divided by your cap rate, and that's going to give you your value. So everything is in that NOI. You're controlling the income of the property, NOI of your property divided by a 4% cap rate. So that cap rate is your average for that area. And if you have the right income, you do all those NOIs, and you get that all right, you'll get your value of the property. So we're projecting to hit a $6.5 to $7 million valuation of this property. And once we have that values there, we'll be able to sell that property or refinance it and keep it as a rental. We do got to sell it or refinance it because we have very expensive money. We're buying it with investors like you out there. We're buying with hard money lending. So we have expensive money that we have to wipe out that debt. We couldn't carry this property with that expensive debt on it. We'll have to be able to refinance it or sell it to some private investors out there. There's a lot of people looking for some good cash producing rentals, or we may keep it. We're not 100% sure where we're at that point, but we have both of those two options, to sell it or refinance and keep it. And refinancing it is just so we can pay out again our personal money, our hard money, all that money into the deal and put it into a cheap loan. I say cheap because it's 7%, whatever is that cheap loan? I don't know. But it is cheaper than what we're at right now with our investors who are paying 12% and so forth. So that is our strategy with this property. It is going to be a fun project. I'm super excited on how it's going to turn out because I know we do a great job, and I see the vision in all our properties before we even start. And it's just going to be a fun property. We're going to do fun things like accent walls, of course, and some really cool lights and cool fixtures. And I'm more excited about doing yard. I just love the yard and wood fences, and we'll do some turf and all that fun kind of stuff where you make the yards really kind of pop. And that's more exciting to me, some of that kind of stuff. And we actually have an offer to sell one of the properties off as it is now, so we may even entertain that. So right now we have a lot of options, a lot of exits and so forth, and a lot of ideas on what this property can turn out to be. And that's what's fun about it. When you have a good deal with multiple exits, it makes it a great deal. And we're super excited about it. I've been putting hundreds of offers on multifamily, so to get a deal is not just like we've just whimsically got one deal out of nowhere. It's been a lot of offers to just get a good deal. And it's not an overnight kind of thing. And it's not as easy as you guys think. The lending, the loan, and working with the banks and buying it has definitely been a hard process with our current market. But we're just there. We're right at the finish line. So super excited to finally get this thing moving and close, basically, and get it started so we can enjoy. And we'll keep you guys updated with, of course, videos and pictures as we go. We got a question. We got a Q&A. How do you feel when people are asked if your parents give you all your money? So how do you feel when people ask if your parents give you all your money? So I think this is from David. So we get a lot of people asking or questions. Oh, you got all this from your family, your parents, or your parents gave you money to do all this. No, my parents didn't give me all this money, and they gave me an education, and I'm very grateful for that. They gave me a good, strong upbringing of what's right and wrong and some good practices in life, and I have blessed it. I love my parents. They're divorced, but I love my parents, and I love my brother. But they didn't give me all of this. They didn't say, here's $10 million, go figure out, or even here's $1 million. They didn't give me no money. They gave me support. They gave me love. They gave me guidance. I will ask them for questions, but I worked hard, guys, for this. I worked hard. I put countless hours in. I put countless times in. While you guys are partying on your Friday or Saturday night, I'm up doing emails and analyzing deals and putting offers. Even tonight, I'm going to go home and work, while you guys are watching TVs, I'll be doing emails. So, I didn't just do this overnight. It's not like I was given this. I was working a full-time W-2 job, and I was going home after work and just watching my education videos and learning and growing and trying and keep getting out there. And I took that risk of doing something different. And that's the hardest part. And that's what people put you down for, or that's what people are scared of, is everyone is scared of getting out of the comfort zone of a nice W-2 job and going to do something different, something you don't know if it's going to succeed, something you don't know if it's going to fail. That's what people is what it takes. And I can't explain that to you. I can't say it's easy. I can't say anything of that. And that's what I think every successful person I know, they've gotten out of that comfort zone where others have not. And sometimes we get jealous or envious of each other because it looks so simple, or how come I couldn't do that, or how come I couldn't figure that out? Because we're all the same person. We're all the same 24 hours a day. We all eat and sleep the same. We all have the same time in day. But how come I couldn't figure that out? And we often get judgmental on other people because we couldn't figure it out. And I'm guilty of it too. I get jealous of people, and I get envious, and I get, how come? But then I just got to remember that it's all I got is me. And I figured this out on my own, just like you can figure this out on your own. Whatever journey you are in life, I'm sure you're doing way better, than anyone else out there, other people out there. So, there's no level judging of anybody. There's other people who have less, and there's other people who have more. And I'm very grateful for all my parents who taught me things and be able to send me to school and be able to send me to college and be able to teach me some basic business practices. Both my parents own their own businesses, and they're very great parents. And they have guided me through the education of being a business owner, and I can ask my dad for advice all the time. My dad and my mom both support me, and they both support the stress of it all. But it takes a lot of you to get out there and make that risk of life, that step into the different path of direction of life. And I can't express how that is, or that action that needs to be taken, but it's just action. And it's just small little steps of action that need to be taken, and you just constantly keep pushing forward. And I struggle today with that, but you can do it. I'll stop talking about that. So the last segment, how can people get in contact with you? So anyone who is interested in this deal, we do have a portal that we'd love you to come on the portal and take a look at the deal. Kyland, my main man, sales guy, who's just great, can talk to you guys as well. Or you can talk to me, and Kyland will get a hold of you guys and talk story about the deal. We have a few deals as well coming up, and Kyland's been great at explaining deals as well, and getting you guys involved. The link's in the bio, of course, so check out the bio or search Indar Hawaii /community. So Indar Hawaii, or you can just click on the community page on Indar Hawaii, and you can see all our deals and our community, from our Airbnbs to all the different stuff we have for you guys. So super excited to have this deal and to show you guys the beauty of these properties. So stay tuned, and please like and subscribe and comment below. I really appreciate it. Just for following you guys all the way this long, please like and subscribe, and go onto my portal, and you guys can download that free deal analyzer for you to analyze some deals. So check that out as well. Thank you guys. Have a great day. Aloha.